Hello everyone, my name is Ganesh, studying second BTech in Vishnu Institute of Technology. And in this video, I will be explaining some important JavaScript topics such as objects, functions, where, let, and const, and JavaScript modules. I will also demonstrate these concepts through simple code examples. So let's get started. What are objects by the way? Objects in JavaScript are collections of key value pairs where keys are strings and values can be any data type. Let's see that with an example. Here we have an object person with some key value pairs as name, Akash, age 25, and I have an function named greet. Let's try to print them using the dot operator. Let's do that again. Yeah, you can see here the person did not name will return Akash, age 25 is printed, and the greet function is printed hello, my name is Akash. Let's move on to the nested objects. Nested objects is nothing but having an object inside another object. Here we have an object named marks inside and another object named student. In order to access the keys in marks, we have to access the student object at first, then the marks object. See, that is what I have done here. I used student method, student object, by the way, using dot operator. I accessed the marks object, and again using the dot operator, I accessed the math keyword. Let's print this. Here you can see the 90 is printed, which is the value for the key math. Let's move on to the functions inside the objects. As we previously discussed, we can have a functions inside an object. Here we have a function named start inside an object called car. So let's see the output. Here you can see the output. The car has started, which is there inside a function called start. And we accessed it using the dot operator, which is there in the car object. Let's move on to the functions. So let's start with the function declaration. Here we have a keyword function followed by the function name and the parameters. And inside the curly braces, we have a body of the function, which will return some of the parameters what we are passing. And we are calling the function over here inside a console.log method, and we are passing the parameters as 2 and 3. So these parameters will go to this function add, and it will return 2 plus 3, which will 5. Let's see the output. Here you can see that output is 5. Let's move on to the function expression. The function expression is something different from function declaration. Here we will create a variable to which a function is assigned. Here the variable is subtract, and this function, anonymous function, is assigned to that variable subtract. So this function will take a parameters a comma b and will return the difference between a and b. And we are calling that function subtract, and we are passing the values as 5 and 3. Let's see the output. Here you can see the output as 2. And let's move on to the arrow functions. Arrow functions are introduced in year 6, which are oftenly used in JavaScript. And arrow functions will be represented using an arrow symbol, which is assigned to a variable. Here the variable is multiply, and the function will take the parameters as a and b and will return the output as a into b. Here we haven't wrote the return keyword because it's an one line statement. This can be written as like this: return a into b. So this will also do the same thing, but in order to make it simple and clean, we just write this in a single line, just like this. So this will return the value of multiplication of the parameters. So we are passing the values as 2 and 3, and it will return 6 as well. So here the 6 is printed. Let's move on to the this keyword, which is very, very important in JavaScript. Let's demonstrate with that an example. Here we have an object obj with some key value pairs as name Ganesh and one function show name, and this will print the name which is there in this particular object. Here this refers to the lexical scope of this function. Again, the variables which are there in this block of code are local scope, and the outside the function. So the variables which are there outside the function, we call them as lexical scope. So this keyword will refers to that lexical scope, and if we have a name in the lexical scope, and that will be printed. We are calling the show name using object. Let's see the output. Here the Ganesh is printed. So let's move on to the var, let, and const keywords. So the var is used to declare a variable and define also. Here we declared a variable x with a value 10, and we wrote a condition if true, which will execute always, and we are redeclaring the variable with the value 20. Notice we are redeclaring the variable, and if we print the value of x, then it will become 20. So while using the var, you can redefine, redeclare a variable whenever you need. Let's see what is a let. Coming to the let, once you declare the variable, you can't declare it twice. So, but in var, you can do it, but in let, you can't. If you try to do that, it will throw an error. Here you can see identifier y has been already declared. So you can't redeclare a variable while using let. Let's see with some more example. Let equal to 20. Here it won't cause any error because this let y, the variable what we declared over here, will be specifically allotted to this particular block of code, not to the global scope. So it will there in this block of code only, which is local scope, and it will not affect the variables that are there in the global scope. So if I try to print the y value here, so that will print the 10. So here you can see the 10 is printed. So this is let. And let's move on to the const. As the name itself says, so once the variable is declared and defined, it cannot be changed in the program. Here it prints the value 10, but if I try to change the value of z, it will throw an error. So here you can see assignment to constant variable. It's a type error. So you can't change the value of a constant variable wherever in the program, and you must assign a value while it is declared. Let's move on to the modules in JavaScript. Further demonstration, I have created two files. One is math.js and one is main.js. In math.js, we wrote two arrow functions. One is add and one is subtract. So the add will return the parameters, the sum of the parameters, and the subtract will return the difference of the parameters. So we are exporting these arrow functions in order to use those in another file. Here in main.js, we are importing those methods which were exported there. We are importing add and subtract methods from math.js file, and we are using those methods in this function. Let's see the output. Here you can see 5 and 3. Here the add passing the values 2 and 3 to the function add. Here it will return 2 plus 3, and that value will be come here and will be printed in the console. While using the subtract, we pass the values as 5 and 2. These two values goes here and it will return a minus b, which is 5 minus 2, and that value will come here and will be logged into our console. So that's how it works. Thank you.